Hey folks, as a movie fan, sometimes when I go back and rewatch my favorite films from the past, I reconnect with them just as I originally had. Other times, you actually see more complexities and subtleties and connect with them in new ways. But other times I find that the nostalgia has faded, the special effects are hokey, and the whole thing just feels kind of dated and not fun anymore. So today I want to do that kind of a test for 2020, comparing 35mm film and digital cameras side by side in terms of experience and results to see how they compare nowadays. So, Princess Stephanie?
I love Star Trek.
Let's go back to the future. This is a genuine showdown, folks. I'm going to be shooting comparable film and digital cameras in 2020 to see the pros and cons of each, and the title isn't clickbait. I will be explaining to you why film is dead, for me at least.
Oh shit!
Okay, so today we have three Leicas in to compare. First off, I have the M10P Color, which is the latest generation. Love this camera. Also have the brand new M10 Monochrome with the higher res 41 megapixel black and white only sensor. And we have the M7, which is the film camera most like the digitals in that it takes batteries and it does actually have an aperture priority mode. And on the M7, we're rocking the Tri-Elma 28-35 50mm lens. Now I got both the M7 and the Tri-Elma from KEH Camera. Big thanks to them, they're sponsoring today's video. KEH have been in the business for over 40 years. They have the world's biggest range of used equipment. And best of all, they check, test and give a 6-month warranty on everything they sell. So if you want to buy used equipment with certainty, they're the guys to check out. And there's a link in the description below. Use the code MATTG at checkout and you can get an extra 5% off your order. Now, along with the Tri-Elma lens, I also have the 28mm Elmert f2.8 lens and the 50mm Arpo f2 Summicron lens. I also managed to get in the legendary 50mm Noctilux f0.95 aperture lens and the brand new M10R high-res color camera to throw into the mix. So I do also have a couple of manual focus Nikkor lenses via adapter, a 50mm 1.2, an 85 1.4 and a 105 1.8 that we'll be able to use on the digital versions pretty easily because we have the EVF to show us the final file.
Batman!
How's my hair? After that first simple setup, we went for something a bit more complex and used an off-camera flash to create some drama with Steph fighting against her captor, the evil Jabba the Hutt. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. At this stage, you may be asking yourself, why are Matt and Steph dressed as Star Wars characters? Well, there are two clear reasons. Firstly, I always got confused watching the original Star Wars movies. Is it set in the future or the past? And that's kind of the feeling you get shooting with an all-manual Leica camera. There's something so advanced, yet so old school about them. And secondly, well, it's just fun to dress up, isn't it? I know, right?
Priorities.
So whilst you might expect that's only the film that's going to be causing problems, today I just got an SD card error on one of the digitals. So we'll need to go and clear that to make sure we've got all of these shots. Lunch break.
Ramen!
Sticking with the off-camera flash, this time just using a simple roller door to give an interesting kind of sci-fi-ish background. For the next one, we packed away the flash and just went to get some simple shots of Steph on the bench with the blurred out trees in the background. A lady was walking her pug, and whenever Steph and I are shooting, dogs trump anything else, so we stopped for some shots of that as well. Okay, so having shot with these for a little while, I have to, I guess, disclose this isn't a downside to film per se. If you shoot film all the time, you're going to be really proficient at it. I've shot thousands of rolls of film, but it's been a while. Doing them side by side though, maybe I've been spoiled over time. I'm so used to being able to shoot and bracket focus, especially when you're shooting with manual focus fast aperture lenses. So I have been finding myself shooting 36 shots with the digital, getting a shot that I'm really happy with, then stepping in to get 1 or 2 with the film camera. So in that sense, I'm conserving shots. Having said that, the cost of buying, developing and scanning film means you just need to shoot that way. When you are shooting with a manual focus lens, it does take a little bit of trial and error, especially with a moving subject like a model. Having said that, someone pointed out to me, if you're shooting black and white, like with the monochrome, it instantly becomes art. And if it's slightly out of focus, then it's fine art. So on that bombshell, beam us up, Scotty. Next location. A quick film change, and then we headed down for our last location down by the waterfront. Time for a little bit of action, a little bit of dancing, then a lot of laughing. We got a couple of different options: standing, laying, seated, and then I got my buddy Juan back in to help with some off-camera flash. Let's take a look at a few of the stills before heading back in studio, and I'll explain why I think film is dead. Okay folks, so flashing forward a couple of weeks, that's the reality of shooting film. You work your way through, shoot all of the rolls, and then I sent these off to the Find Lab. My friend Victor, shout out Victor, big film lover, introduced me to them. They do great work, and I have to say that isn't the sticking point anymore for me. I do not at all miss chemicals in the house or developing for myself, but the price of having stuff developed and scanned is prohibitive sometimes. But the Find Lab, they did really high res, good quality scans for much cheaper than I was able to get in Australia, and a lot cheaper than I've seen around the States. And the whole process from me posting it to them getting it and then delivering the work was only a week, maybe a bit under a week. So that's not the sticking point for me. As it boils down, in all honesty, as I go through and look at all of the files there, just looking at them blind, easily, hands down, I preferred the shots from the M10 monochrome. There was just no question, especially paired with the 50mm Apo lens. It's just an incredible combination. I preferred it by far to the Noctilux. Then I liked the M10P images. And then I liked the Acros film images, and then I liked the Velvia film images, which is funny because I used to love Velvia film, and it is still nice and it still does have an aesthetic to it. But for me, there's no advantage to film anymore. Digital, I think, has a resolution edge already at 24 megapixels, and when we're talking 41 megapixels on the high-res ones, film is just left for dead. You also, when you're shooting with manual focus lenses, don't necessarily have the clinical sharpness that you do often with digital, but using something like the Apo, if you want it, it's there. Most of the other stuff, whilst you can say film has an aesthetic, and this could be heresy to some film lovers, you can achieve similar looks. And for, let's face it, it's true. People often say, Well, you're spending $10,000 on a digital kit. I can buy an old analog kit for $1,000. That leaves me $9,000 for processing and scanning. That's true. But for example, when Victor joined me on a trip to Bhutan, he shot reasonably sparingly, shooting 120 film. He shot 60 rolls though, and you're talking like $1,500 for developing and scanning. So as soon as you take 6 trips, you've already caught up. And then the next trip, you're $1,500 in the hole compared to the digital kit. So that is something to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, there just isn't an advantage. I get the same mechanical interface and feeling from the digital Leica as I do the film one. It means less stuffing around and less wasted time reloading the film. I prefer the images from digital, so it's just a no-brainer that for me, I would prefer to shoot digital in pretty much every instance. So for me, I know the mantra goes the other way, but for me, film is dead. Now that doesn't mean it necessarily needs to be for you, but I'm very comfortable shooting with my digital Leicas. And whilst I'd be happy to use the older lenses on my film bodies, I think for now, I'm pretty much gonna stick to digital moving forward. Come up. But thank you for coming up.
Yeah,
Live long and prosper. It's been good to get right into Star Wars theme and getting all the lines down perfectly.
Oh, yeah, I'll be back.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah.